Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast on the planet. Prepare to reevaluate everything you've been taught.
They have the power. We have the numbers now. It's all just a constant illusion of control. They break us like horses.
And they can tell us we're crazy. And we can say, well, you haven't seen anything yet.
Everything you knew was a goddamn lie. Would you up and explode like it's the 4th of July? Possessed by perfection in this land, if you're awake, you're the enemy. Every day a new deception. Pick your scene and take direction. And on a search to connect. But I don't wear a mask and I have no regret. Down on your knees, you don't look so tall. Open your eyes and the empire falls.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Today, I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. I want to talk a little bit about Shiba Inu, a little fun pop that took place there. I want to talk about our perceptions in the world. I want to talk about the reality in which we currently live in. I want to talk about the pros and the cons to everything. I want to take the next 20, 25 minutes and just ramble, unload, talk crisp. Basically what I'm seeing in the world right now is obviously, we're told that we can't ask questions. We can't have these things going on. So many things we can't do. You see on the television. Then you see the doublespeak where it's this and it's that. And doctors say this and then doctors change that. And then when you start talking about it with your friends or with people out there, they say you can't challenge anything. You can't do that. You have to do what you're told. There comes a point in time in this conversation and in this argument where you really have to step back and say, who's saying who and for what? And what do I believe in at this moment in time? In other words, am I going to waste any time haranguing around an individual who wants to vehemently misunderstand me? No. The answer is no, I do not. Do I want to expand energy into that conversation? Again, no. So one of the main things I definitely want to get out of the way at the beginning of this show is a comprehension and understanding that you don't have to engage these things. You don't have to fight. And there's a lot of things going on right now that has people, again, like I said, they want to fight. But then we have to sort of address ourselves in the scenario, in the situation. For the most part, our ability to think freely has allowed us to question the narrative, has allowed us to question moving forward what we can and what we can't do. There are a massive growing number of people that are clearly on the let's go Brandon side of things. And I think that's phenomenal. I think that's absolutely phenomenal, right? So when you see the media, realize too that the arguments inside your head, and this is for you, the listener, the arguments that are inside your head about what you can and can't say, the opposing version of those arguments were also implanted in your head by the same people that are making a bunch of shit up. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a ton of stuff out there that is real. Obviously, there always has been. But our ability to see it for what it is in our life is important. It's important for us to truly grasp our take and not our desire to fight or not fight. Because remember too, when we are having these conversations inside our head, when we are thinking about these things, there's a lot of stuff that can get us down. I know I sound long-winded right now, and I probably am. So I'll move on to something quick soon. But remember that you don't have to hold your ground. When somebody attacks you, let them. I mean, verbally, about their point. If you disagree with their point, that's fine. The question and the purpose in this message is when they attack you and you've done the thinking. Because what the people that attack us don't remember is that, or don't even realize, I think, is that at one point we were all there. Every last one of us came from a position where we were blindly obedient. And then we started asking questions. And they never got the opportunity to break free from blind obedience. But you did. So it's kind of foolish for you to argue with somebody who's blindly obedient when you know full well the struggle that you went through trying to decide what was what. And then we get wrapped up in a sense of quasi-righteousness that, you need to know what we know. The truth is they don't. Because every single person on this planet is living their own reality. Their own reality that isn't your reality. One of my favorite quotes is, 2 people can be seeing the exact same thing and completely missing it. You can see somebody, what's the actual quote is something like, even if they're looking at exactly what you're looking at, they won't see the same thing. And that's the truth. So these battles that go on, and I'm going to move on from this after this, but these battles that go on between you and the others in any facet, no matter what side of the fence you land on, is really a battle between you and yourself, trying to comprehend yourself a little bit better, comprehend the situation a little bit better, and make the arguments a little bit better. Prime example of that, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's a very staunch supporter. And he says, the hospitals are overrun. And I said, bro, I'll tell you this right now. You and I are both wrong because both of us are arguing the point, a point that we choose to want to believe in. But neither one of us are standing in the hospital right now observing. So this is for you, for the people that are getting frustrated. Just let it go. Let it go and move in grace with what you need to do and see. Because you don't need to fight. The idea that they want us to fight the lower vibrational frequencies, it's all bullshit. You don't need to fight. You need to comprehend yourself a little bit better. So you need to have these conversations for sure, but you don't need to get wrapped up in it. In other words, have the conversation or have the argument, but don't live in the argument. Now, let's talk about Let's Go Brandon. This is sweeping the nation. And to me, one of the coolest things about this is there is, no matter what we're looking at, there's a news media outlet that's telling us some serious, serious garbage. And it's like they can't even hide it anymore. They literally can't even hide it. So they make this stuff up and then they back it up. So if people don't pay attention, like, oh, well, that's what they said and that's just this, that, and the other thing. And again, this comes down to the people that just aren't aware. They don't want to be aware. But the number of people that are aware that no one's talking about, because when you're aware of certain things, you feel like you're alone. Because you don't know what's what. Everything's a fucking scam. And you're a little bit lost as to, who to trust. So you just don't. You just shut back. This is why a lot of us right now have gone introversion. We've just sort of pulled back on a lot of things. Those that don't want to fight and those that are just trying to figure things out and those that are literally trying to figure out where they are, what they're doing and why they're doing it. It's become almost comical. But what you're seeing in what they're not showing you, like what they're seeing, what you're seeing in things that can't be fabricated. Well, I suppose they can be fabricated too, but I'd like to believe that they aren't. Things like Let's Go Brandon trending 1 and 2 on iTunes, even though it's been banned everywhere. Things like Squid Game, right? The whole world is watching Squid Game. And Squid Game, I've never seen an episode of this. And I would assume that you guys, maybe some of you have, but not all of you for sure. But Squid Game, apparently the premise of Squid Game is they take people who are broke and they hire them and they make them fight each other. Right? Today, that's called Squid Game. But back in the 50s, the broke people signed up for the army. Right? So rich people hired the broke poor people to kill each other for their own amusement. You believe that? That's the truth. Right? That is what the wars were all about. Because if you really deduce this, right? If we take this back a minute, and this is going to actually parlay into my next segment. If you think about money, a lot of people right now are saying that money is the motivator. Money is why people are doing what they're doing. But the truth is the elites made money. They invented it. So if these guys invented money, then why would they need it? Right? The money is basically just like a ticket for us, something that we need to chase. But it's becoming more and more clear and more apparent that there's a game out there that we are not privy to. Right? So the army, and they're like, oh, you're fighting over premise and prowess and this, that, and the other thing, and East versus West, and all these countries are at war. But the truth of the matter is, it looks, well, I'm not going to say the truth of the matter. I'm just going to say from an observational standpoint. It looks like there is a group of people that all get together in Davos, I believe, and they have their world powerful elite meetings, and they decide what they're going to do. And these are all the leaders of the world. Are we supposed to believe, speaking of let's go, Brandon, are we supposed to believe that Joe Biden is actually a president? I mean, he doesn't even get the White House. Whenever you see him, he's on that stage. They built a stage for him where like the window is an advertisement for something. They're promoting some bullshit. This guy doesn't even get into the White House. What is this guy? What is Joe Biden? Anyway, I have no idea. I have no idea what he is or what he's supposed to represent, but the guy can't form a sentence no matter what. I don't know if they're just trying to mock us or what they're doing with that, but the idea that the presidency is a real thing is absolutely absurd. But here's the thing. If all of this stuff because right now, a lot of our foundational beliefs are based around money. We need money to survive. We need money to this, that, and the other thing. And the government uses money to fear us, taxation, this, that, and the other thing. When you break free from that fear of them taking something from you, you live a very open life. And that doesn't mean you go broke. It means you decide with your time to do what you need to do to earn the money that you need to earn to take the steps that you need to take. It's not 9 to 5. It's not $15 an hour or whatever the hell people are trying to make, and they're trying to make a living. This is absurd. Find out something that you're really good at, something that you like. And we've heard this story our whole lives, and just get out there and do it. And then you find out how to monetize it, right? When you're motivated and you're geared up, you go. And this isn't going to be a knock. It may sound like a knock, but it's not a knock to any of you, right? But if you're out there bitching about $15 an hour and you still work Monday to Friday and then you get drunk on the weekends, right? They've tricked you into wanting to do that as well. That is a mindset that they've kept you in because you're perpetually repeating emotion and you're perpetually saying, I wish I had, I wish I had, I wish I had. Or I don't have the same gifts you have. And a lot of us come from nothing, right? But we have this idea that the rich are rich and the poor are poor, right? But the thing is, and I'm not preaching when I say this is not preachy. My whole life turned around when I quit drinking. And I didn't even intentionally decide to quit drinking. When I quit drinking, it was basically, I'm like, holy fuck, we went nuts. We tore it up for like almost a month straight. Crazy. We've all been there. And I said, you know what? I'm taking 30 days off. I'm taking 30 days off. And that, we've all been there too. Yeah, you all know. Think about that last time you got blotto and you're like, oh God, my liver, why am I doing this to myself? And then you're like, I'm taking some time off, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, what have you, right? For me, it was 30 days. And a buddy of mine said, hey, you did 30 days and it just happened to be a quick 30 days. And I was looking forward to having a drink at the end of the 30 days. And he goes, I want to do 30 days. And I said, if you're going to do 30 days, and I knew he was a little bit weaker on it, I said, I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to do another 30 days with you. By the time I hit 60 days, I can't even explain it. Looking back on it, like my eyes opened up. There was just this massive influx of knowledge and comprehension. And you realize that, why am I living in a world where the government, the same people that are oppressing me, are telling me that I can't do psychedelics, I can't smoke marijuana, both naturally occurring substances, but that I am more than welcome to, and please do. And here's a whole bunch of information on and consume alcohol. And why is it that if you tell somebody that you've quit heroin, they're like, hey, good for you, Steve. Hey, you finally kicked it. I hope you got this. But if you tell somebody you quit drinking, they're like, oh, he must have had a problem. Right? So if you understand too that we've been brainwashed on this entire topic, like it's ridiculous. So when you decide that you want to pull your socks up and get yourself out of the minimum wage circle game, you absolutely can do it. Is another thing too was, you're seeing all this stuff on SHIB too, SHIB Inu, the cryptocurrencies. All of these people are making tons of cash. There was a statement that said this guy, he invested $8,000 into SHIB like last August. And the wallet is now worth over $1 billion. I don't know exactly how much, but it's over $1 billion. From 8,000 to over $1 billion. This just goes to show that the transfer of funds in this world is not exactly what we think it is. That money isn't really that hard to come by. And I'll tell you this too. I made a fortune in cryptocurrency completely by accident. But I took all the risks. I started way back in the day and I lost a ton of money. And I just kept trying and kept pushing and kept understanding because I believed in the notion. Right now it's picking up traction. The thing about crypto too is, now that we're on this topic, the thing about crypto too is that it is, once you're in it and once you trust it, and once you like it, you're in it, you understand what you're doing. It's beautiful. Getting in is ridiculous. And I want to say that we are in the process right now. It's not fully set up, but it pretty much, we're around the corner from it. We have acquired a secondary company called Tales from the Crypto. These guys have been trading. They're actually, a few of them are friends of mine. We have a few other companies involved, a few other traders involved. And this stuff is going to be a neat little program down the line. But right now, to get people started on this sort of thing, like we decided that we wanted to, anyone that wants to understand this or learn this or has ever had any thought of breaking the cycle, entering crypto, trying to do something for yourself, in that sense, an investment that's completely in your hands. It's not even an old school investment. You know, the fiat investment systems that were almost impossible for us to get into. The cryptocurrency can be done from your phone, but it is complicated. It is convoluted to somebody that doesn't quite know. So anyway, I'm going to wrap that. If you guys have ever been in the mindset of deciding you wanted to be in crypto, but really didn't know where to look, there's a ton of people that have been reaching out to us. So much so that there's a lot of people that don't take it seriously. They just want to ask questions, waste your time. It's a true thing. So we put up a payment gateway. But if you really want in, and in the first little while, you're going to get, you can go over to thementalmasteryalliance.com. Crypto for beginners is in our promotional section, the promotional tab, and click on that. And if you really want to get started, you can even email us to ask a few more questions if you want. But if you really want to get started, click the tab. The whole thing is by hand. It's not set up in automation in any way, shape, or form. We kept the automation out of this because we wanted it to be a person that doesn't know quite what they're doing to get involved and to get started and to do it on the safe side and do it with a voice you trust. So there's a high likelihood that if you decide to go with that program, you're going to have me on the phone. More than likely, you're going to have one of the guys from the website. But I want to take the first few calls, especially if you come through this podcast. I want to take the first few calls. I want to talk to you. I want to make sure that you who trust me and what we've been saying for so long are comfortable with what's going on and how you're going to progress through it. But we'll get you all set up with everything that you need to know. We'll get you all the programs, everything that you like, all the smart ones, the ones that aren't scammy, all the good ones. We'll get them all on your phone. We'll explain to you how the whole thing works. We'll save you countless hours of bullshit. And then we'll add you into a complete support group, which you're going to be grandfathered into when it changes into the Copy Trade Academy. So you're going to be able to do literally all the stuff that they're doing later, but you're in on the ground floor and you got yourself geared up and you've got a support system. So that to me sounded like an ad. It sounded wordy, but it's not an ad. A lot of you are already in crypto and good for you. This is specifically for the people that haven't had the wherewithal so far to jump in because everything is convoluted, creepy, scammy, and it's all a con. Man, I had a laugh. I saw this meme. This meme was, what did he say? Back in the day, like the horror version, there's a call coming from inside the house. This is what scared us. And then today, you have a call. And that made me laugh because it's true. Man, how many times do you look at your phone and go, fuck, who's calling me? This is a scam. Like my friends know not to call me, right? You always text your friends before you call. There's never an out of the blue phone call. That's bullshit. It's a funny world that we live in and everything is such a convoluted scam. It's all bullshit out there. Anyway, what a rant. But yes, so we've set the program up. And it's there, it's running, it's live, it's active. It's in its beta phase right now, but you are going to get the most out of us right now if you want to go ahead with it. That is all I'm going to say about that. Perhaps I might drop it again a little bit later. Oh yeah, thementalmasteryalliance.com in the promotions tab there. And again, this wasn't meant to sound all conspiracy theory-ish again. But, you know, the more we get into this stuff, the more we understand that, you know, finance is nuts. And this is another thing too. We were talking about crypto, and there are so many people that will get out there and they'll say, because so many people are pointing, or trying to find shills and this, that, and the other thing. And it's funny because, man, if you are open to certain things, like, don't get locked into a mindset. I have a few people that are like mad at me because I've taken the plunge in the crypto sphere. A long time ago, I lost some friends over because they're like, you know, it's just the Bilderberg group. There's no way that they would allow this to be a thing. Like, obviously they won't. But we've also been privy to, and we've been told about the New World Order, the Great Reset. We've known this was coming for a long time. The transition of wealth, the power shift, right? There's so much ridiculous money out there we don't even know about, right? It's absolutely useless. Paper money is absolutely useless, the amount that's out there and the amount that's circulating. We've only been told a story. We've only been told a random thing, a piece. And you think if you've got $100,000 that you've got something, or a house is worth $1 million, so we're comparing the shit to that other shit. But the truth is, there's so much ridiculous money everywhere. And they're like, well, crypto can be completely rigged. It can be manipulated by whales. I'm telling you right now, the fiat system was exactly that. The fiat system came off the gold standard, and nobody talked about that transition, right? But this is, again, a transfer of wealth. These people are making changes to the system that we are trying to live by. They're constantly, was it Billy or Roddy Piper? He says, just when they figured out all the questions or all the answers, I changed the question. You know, this guy, come on. It's crazy to think that, what was it, Robin Hood or I can't even remember it. You know, they said that they shut down trading because the Reddit people teamed up against them and made moves that were unlawful. But that's literally the definition of what a hedge fund is. A hedge fund is a bunch of people pooling all of their money and making the same damn move. That's a hedge fund, right? But when people on Reddit do it, it's illegal, right? So the idea that we have any power whatsoever in the game, other than the illusion of the power that they give us, it's an absolute fallacy. And so I'm going to get back to the crypto thing. Why I have lost friends over it is because at the time they were so adamant that I shouldn't be involved in obviously a very conspiracy-minded New World Order, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission thing. This cryptocurrency. And I've said to them 1,000 times, and I've said it to myself, it is here to stay. This is clearly the road that they want to go down. This is clearly the path that they want to take. And I would be a fool not to at least partially be involved in this scenario. And then when you look at, the amount of trades that I've made through conspiracy alone are entertaining, to say the least. And when I had nothing and I was putting in like $80 a week back in the day, way back, who knows? You know, and you don't want to trust crypto because crypto, again, too, you can't just go in like you can the stock market. You've got to bleed in. You know, there are checks and balances set up all over the place where you can't overdo it. You can't lose too much. It's actually quite good now. But, you know, $80 a week rapidly turned into thousands of dollars because these coins are just jumping because infrastructure is pouring into it. And I've said 1,000 times over, you know, it's not going to be me handing you money anymore. It's going to be your bots talking to my bots. And that shit's all crypto. And we're at the very beginning stages of this. And there's going to be chances and time to move and grow and adapt as it rolls. But to say this is New World Order juju and you shouldn't be involved in it is really limiting. So even if you are about that, because I firmly am, I'm 100% about that. But I'm also not interested in not being able to put food on the table when all the jobs everywhere are gone and the government's coming after you and the income tax this and income tax that and corporate tax and where's your money? What's the offshore? Like what's this? They're going to go into people's accounts that's $600 or more. Like any way you any way you cut it, there is an intrusion from them into us. Why not benefit yourself? So to those of you who are still on the fence, get involved, do your thing. If it's $500, if it's $80, if it's $100 a week, you'd be a fool not to get involved because this is what they want. So when you can see the plan in play, and even though a lot of us do think for ourselves, a lot of us do try to avoid certain things. I mean, when was the last time any of us ate at McDonald's, right? Because we know full well what's going on there. And again, now I sound like I'm Looney Tunesy. Where's my tinfoil hat? Come on, right? But I'm talking about stuff that you guys already know. So you can benefit yourself because again, money is poof. The money means nothing. It's a tool that they use to control us, but it's also a system of checks and balances for them as well. So when you can benefit yourself on their shifting and moving, do it 100%. In any way, in any capacity, and anyone, if you want to talk to your friends, if you want to, anyone that's involved in it, don't poo-poo the idea, especially if you're conspiracy minded, right? It's a gift, right? And everyone's like, well, you can't take a gift from these people. It's all a thing, right? Well, there are loopholes and not everything is as it seems. But I am saying that, in a world that is hell bent, literally working against you, it's okay sometimes to take a piece, excuse me. It's take a piece back. That's my piece on that, for sure. I did want to touch on quickly the Alec Baldwin scenario. Alec Baldwin is obviously like way up there when it comes to who these guys are. And I'm not going to, actually, maybe I'll censor that out. So let's just pretend that that name was censored out. Actually, that doesn't even matter. I laugh. I digress. We got in trouble. Our last, one of our other podcasts, we mentioned Tom Hanks and maybe some of his extracurricular activities, and they didn't like that. We lost the whole podcast. There's a few other things that we mentioned too, but yeah, we had to go. So censorship is huge. Back to Alec Baldwin. If you guys haven't looked into that thing, man, that's kind of crazy what took place there and what went down with that. It was kind of funny. It's like, it's sad that somebody died, but like, look at the story, look at the connections, look at who the husband was and who the woman was, who she was married to, who the law firm was representing, who Alec Baldwin was in the whole thing, how the hunt for Red October really checks in. It's a bit weird. Anyway, that's a whole other rabbit hole. I don't even have the time to go down on that one, but I love that just the nuances and the subtleties that are all wrapped up in that scenario and that story and that situation. Whether you're conspiracy minded or not, that's crazy. But back to you and back to the motivational side of this podcast in this episode. We're taught 1,000 times over to beat ourselves up for our past. We're taught 1,000 times over not to make big, strong moves, that a leopard can't change its spots. Well, I'm telling you this right now, as we watch this world turn into what it's turning into, every last one of us that's listening to this show and that's affected by these people and that's out there, that's observant and that's able to see, the whole reason you exist is to change your spots. You are not locked into that position, that person, that thing that you thought you were. You're not locked into the actions that you once did. You're not even locked into the person that you were when you did the thing that you hate the most in your life. Because we all have that one thing that we absolutely wish we'd never done, right? But there's also a million things out there that we've done 1,000 times over and we've never even thought of. And it could have hurt somebody. It could have done this. It could have done that. So why I say that is because the only thing that you remember that hurt you is your massive teaching point. Because there's every single one of your memories is a highlight reel, both good and bad. But your life isn't a highlight reel. Remember that. Your life is everything. But if 10% of it is stored as a highlight reel, or 1% of your life, your memories, right? You allow those memories to dictate how you feel on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Those memories then create who you are. So you can forgive yourself. I think one of the biggest things, and I want to do an entire episode on self-forgiveness. I've already done a few of them, but it's a recurring theme and it's important. You do not have to be the person you were yesterday. And that sounds cliche, but you have the ability to literally see all the things that you hate about yourself and stop doing them, change them, become a different person. The illusion that you cannot change your spots is specifically done so that you don't even try. But I'm telling you right now, if you want more for yourself, get out there and take it. It's up to you. You can do it. You will do it, because the alternative is shit. It's not doing it, right? And to all of you who are doing great things right now, but you're like depressed or upset or worried, or, you know, it's you're inside your own head about it's not good enough, it's not this, it's not that. Ask yourself why. Have a serious conversation with yourself about why you're so tough on yourself. Like, why is it okay for you to talk such shit about yourself? As opposed to being proud of your moments and looking forward to the next ones, and really just embracing the moment and the experience. Because there's a lot of you, and I've talked to a few of you, there's a lot of you who are highly successful listening to this podcast, and success as defined by the third dimension. But you're lost as defined by the fifth dimension. And that's a huge thing, because, you know, when we work our asses off and we get all the stuff that they told us to get and we're still miserable, that's when you can stop playing the third dimensional game and you can start playing the self, soul, mindset, fifth dimensional, getting yourself involved with yourself, finding out where you are, finding out what you're doing, and pouring back into your soul, back into your essence. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mental Mastery Alliance. It's been an awesome show, a lot of fun. I crammed a lot of information in this one. I spoke a lot. I spoke really fast. Another thing too, people actually talk about this. A lot of people listen to their podcast at 1.5 speed or what have you, because the guys always talk too slow or something. I'm so used to listening to podcasts and or audiobooks at like 1.7, 1.8 speed that they're just talking so fast. And I also, whenever I get on the mic, I'm always excited to talk to you guys. So I'm always talking really fast. I think it's really funny because people say when I put my show on, they have to slow the player down because I'm talking as fast as they would normally be listening to an audiobook that was going on. Anyway, I really appreciated that aspect of this show. And we're having a lot of fun. So I will be, after today is the 28th of October. I have my Michael Myers Halloween costume and I will be handing candy out to the kiddies. And then after that, I am in Ottawa. So I will be heading to Canada's national capital for the entire month of November. So if you're in Ottawa and you want to reach out and you know how to reach out to me, please do. And if you're not in Ottawa and you want to reach out, please do. That is info@the Mental Mastery Alliance. You can reach the show. You can check in with us. You can see what's going on. You can send us a text message to 647-338-1265. If you have any ideas for the show, if you want to have your message heard, if you want to do anything, you can also email your messages or topics or things you want to talk about or anything you want to get on the show. You can leave a voicemail at that same number, 647-338-1265, if you want to. And we'll get that on the show as well. Actually, that's probably not true coming into the next month because I won't have the major gear. I will be again with my travel gear, much like I was when I was up north. Whew. Packed a lot in, ladies and gentlemen. Had a lot to say. I have a lot more to say. And again, if you do want to check out the program on the Mental Mastery Alliance, it's just go ahead. It's in the exclusive offers tab. It's crypto getting started. If you want to make friends, if you have any questions, if you don't want to get started and you just want to shoot a question or two over, please, by all means, go ahead. Somebody's going to be there to answer. It's not automated. You are talking directly with real people, getting real answers, and making shit count. So, ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. This has been a very fun show for me to record. And in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
Thank you for listening to today's Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag MMA and Mental Mastery Alliance. Want more motivation? Be sure to follow online on Instagram @Mental Mastery Alliance and on Facebook @Mental Mastery Alliance. And remember, your perception creates your reality. Make it a great day.
You got it, Pontiac.